Hey guys, it's Brian here, and welcome to episode 17 of our New York Islanders Be a GM series. In today's episode, we have 2 played games for you against Montreal and Washington, and 2 sim games on top of that too. We also had the trade deadline as well, which is a pretty big, momentous occasion for us here, because you know what? We are going to spend. We're going to bring in all the players we possibly can, make those big trades to really bulk up our team before the playoffs coming here, because you know what? We're only doing one season, might as well just kind of sell the farm. And even though it is a little bit unrealistic to do this, we gonna really try hard here to go deep in the playoffs. So why not, right? And you can see the 2 moves we bring in here early is Jarome Iginla. He's not going to Pittsburgh. He's coming to the New York Islanders. And Trevor Daley as well. That was for a 3rd round pick and Brett Ballmer, and a 1st round pick for Jarome Iginla as well. So not too much given up there. No real actual roster players having to be given up as well in those trades. And those are the 2 trades we made before we went into this Montreal Canadiens game. We have a couple other trades too, and the one requested player, Lucas Spiza, is going to be brought in as well. So stay tuned for that after this game right here. But yeah, there was a couple moves I thought could kind of solidify the team a bit, because we've had some injuries up front, and that's really kind of hurt us in a lot of ways when it comes to actually having scoring players. So even though Jarome is an older player, he's really got a great scoring touch, and I mean, he's a guy that we can really bring in and have that veteran presence as well, especially for potentially a long playoff run. So I thought that was a good bring-in and a good pickup for the team, even though we did have to give up a 1st round pick. That's a 1st round pick that we're not really going to have to worry about. So in the world that, let's say, the apocalypse is happening after this season, that's a good trade for us here. And you can see in this game, we get an early goal there. Michael Grabner, a nice little one, as he's able to kind of hold his body and hold the puck away from the defender there, put it in against Carey Price, and score a nice one for us there. So we get the early goal, and this game goes pretty good for us. We really don't have too much trouble against the Canadiens here. We've had a pretty good season thus far, and you can see we almost scored a goal there at the end of the 1st period, but we're going to go into the break with a 1-0 lead, and yeah, not too many shots either. But yeah, it was a good game. We were kind of clicking, and that was the thing that I wanted to share when we've been playing these games. I feel pretty good. We've gotten to the point now that even if we haven't played for a while, me and Landon, when we play together, we do make some mistakes, and we have some fun playing it too. We have a chuckle, because I'm absolutely terrible at getting goaltender interference. As you'll see in these highlights too, I do try and show my mistakes, and for whatever reason I just kind of always slam into the goalie, because I just, for whatever reason, really end up doing it all the time. So that's my fault. His fault, I forget what it was. I think it's something along the lines of interference, or we both have one at least. You can see if you watch the highlights, so we both have a small problem when we take penalties, and we both go back and forth on it. He says I do take more penalties, but I beg to differ, and we're not going to keep track now, but I'm going to be looking for that in NHL 14 when we play together. See who really takes more penalties, see who really is the player that's bringing us down in regards to our penalties being taken. Regardless of the penalties, though, we have a pretty good period there, and we'll go into the 3rd period with a 2-0 lead, which is pretty nice, and goal from Weiss there in the 2nd period, which is a good one to see. And right off the draw here, we get a nice one with Jarome Iginla. He's in his 1st game as an Islander, but you can see he just kind of cuts back, nice little dangle there, and scores the goal top shelf, as you'd expect from him. 25th goal of the season for him. So even though he hasn't been really playing with us yet, he's had a pretty good season in Calgary, and he's going to be fighting for the goal-scoring lead for the team, at least, against Michael Grabner. Here, the icing on the cake potentially, as we get a chance right there, but just knocked right down right in front of the net. But that's going to be okay, because we're going to be able to hold on for the shutout here. A nice win for Markstrom, as he's had an up-and-down season from time to time. But he has a great game here. Scores, or we score 3 times, and beat a team that we're really kind of fighting for in those playoff spots. So a good game overall. You can see 22 saves from Markstrom. Pretty nice there. 2 assists for Tavares, and a goal to get the 3rd star for Grabner there. As I said, 26 goals on the season for him. So as I said, we're going to bring in Spiza, and you can see right there, Ty Ratty traded, a guy I was actually excited to have on the team, but since we're only playing a season, we're not going to see him develop or anything like that. Big trade here, though. Corey Perry going to the LA Kings, and Tyler Toffoli, Christopher Gibson, 1st round pick, and I didn't see who the other player was there, but not too much. That really was a pretty weak deal. I know that Getzlaf and Perry are on their last year deals, and they didn't get the contract extensions when we're playing through this here, so that's probably a reason why. But the last move, and like I said, we're really bulking up. We didn't need to make a move like this, but I like Bouchard. I've never actually been able to play with him. I thought, why not? We'll bring him in. We do actually sell a player that's been on our roster there. The reason for it is that we have enough roster players as is. Uensu goes the other way, send another 1st round pick. So we get rid of our 1st round picks, but bring in another very capable second line center. So if Tavares goes down or gets injured, then we have Weiss and Pierre-Marc Bouchard that can step into that first line role. And luckily, you know what? Tavares actually does get injured in this episode specifically, so there's a little bit of foresight there, definitely. But luckily for us, we're not going to have to worry about the team being any short-changed in the center roles. We have Nielsen, Tavares, and Pierre-Marc Bouchard that can all play that role. We have Bouchard playing the wing, though, coming into this one right here. And the game against Boston here is another simmed one. So we have the New York Rangers game that will be simmed as well, and we'll move on to the Washington game after that. And as you can see, slow start to this game overall. They get the power play there, but we're holding on early on, not too bad. And it was nice to see the team, well, actually, you know, we're not playing all the games now, so I was hoping that these changes would kind of bulk up the team, because our star rating was not too strong before, you know, kind of making some of these trades, and I was a bit worried that this team would really be bulldozed. It's kind of a good thing, because we win most of our games when it comes to playing our actual games. So I was hoping, though, that we'd be able to win some with the sim team here, and adding some extra players looks to do some good. But Matt Karkner, a guy that has not played that much at all for us this season, gets a goal there, and yeah, that was good for him. Weiss, though, getting another goal for us here. Really, actually very happy with Weiss. I think I've talked about this a bit before as well, that he was a player that was not doing that great when he came in, and now he's at the point that he's done a lot better and played a lot stronger. In this game, we are outplayed. They have had a better game against us, as the shots were pretty much in their favor. We get a little late comeback here as we try to get some, I guess, an insurance goal in the power play. Not able to do so, though, and you can see that the Boston Bruins tied up late in this one, and they really deserved it too. But you know what? A late goal by Casey Cizikas is going to knock them out of this game. We're going to get the 3-2 win. A nice win there. And Markstrom, another great game too. 944 save percentage and 36 saves. Very strong game from him. And I usually don't expect those late goals when it comes to simming. So that was kind of a funny one to see there. And we move on to the next game here against the New York Rangers, our rival. I actually kind of wanted to play this game, but I decided, you know what, we'll play the Washington Capitals game. And maybe the wrong decision is to get the early goal there, and that was a nice one from them. But overall, close game. That's what I kind of wanted. I wanted it to be close. Team Solani getting the second goal for them too, and another player that's been brought in to the New York area that's a very strong player indeed. But yeah, we get a goal here to kind of get it closer. Kyle Okposo, nice one there, gets us a little bit closer to maybe making this one a game. But as you're going to see, as the clock winds down here, you know what's going to happen? No other goals are going to be scored, and the game's going to finish 2-1 for the New York Rangers. And that was a little disappointing, as they're our rival. They're not really having that great of a season, though, so we don't really have to worry about fighting for playoff spots against them. With that said, though, I wanted to take a second and kind of look at what the team is set up like now, because I'm not going to show the edited lines in this episode. We'll have the standings and the stats at the very end of this one, but I wanted to kind of go over what the team's going to be looking like. We have Jerome McGinley and Michael Grabner on the wings on the top line. John Tavares playing up there. Then on the second line, we have kind of a nice little mix here. We had Chris Higgins and Stephen Weiss playing there before, and Kyle Okposo would come in from time to time. Now we have Pierre-Marc Bouchard that's playing on the wing with them. So, seems like a good mix, even though Pierre-Marc Bouchard is kind of a smaller player. I thought that would be overall pretty solid there. And then the third and fourth lines are kind of a hodgepodge, as we'll be moving them around from time to time. We got guys now like Okposo and Franz Nielsen playing on those lines. Ryan Strome as well, Jordan Schrader, Marty Reasoner, Casey Cizikas too, that are all playing down there. And you can see the ratings we're talking about, still only 3.5 stars for the offensive rating, but we've moved that defensive rating up to a 4.5, and that was one of the other really big things that I wanted to focus on going into the trade deadline. As we've played some, you know, mediocre prospects and just some mediocre defensemen in general this season, which has kind of been, I think, one of our negatives for the team. One of the parts has really made it hard for us to keep goals out of our net. And you can see Markstrom's been doing a great job in these games. But we brought in Spiza, and we also brought in Daly, and those are two players that are rated quite high for defensemen, and they actually rated as their top defenseman as well, which is, you know, in a way kind of sad. As we have Mark Streit and Lubomir Visnovsky, but they're older players that are on the same level as these guys, but going down. They have some great talent, but they've had injury troubles with both of them. And, you know, besides from that, we have Travis Hamonic and Andrew McDonald, who's had a great season, no doubt, but players that we shouldn't be relying on to be in our top two, at least right now. And bringing in these guys, Daly and Spiza, gives us an option here in the late going of the season. And like I said, because we're only doing a single season, you don't have to worry about kind of just not really making the team what I want it to be. And I mean, this might sound a bit funny, but I don't necessarily agree with making a lot of trades, and I made a lot of trades in this career mode, especially with the fact that we made 4 there at the deadline. And the thing I wanted to share is when I do an NHL 14 career with the Vancouver Canucks, it's going to be, you know, a career very similar to this, I hope, in the fact that we're going to, you know, have the same kind of quality content, but I want to do a lot more for it, as I've already kind of noted. I want to kind of shoot for 5 seasons as the goal in this kind of format. But the other thing too is I won't make as many trades because I really believe in really kind of building the prospect system and working your way up from there. And it really goes against all my morals when when playing NHL 13 and previous NHL games to kind of do what I'm doing here, in the fact that really just stacking up the team. But the thing I want to do is that we've already, you know, kind of solid around this season, haven't got as much done, and as I said, I wanted to make the playoffs a real run for us. So I thought, you know, why not put as much as we can into this team, give ourselves the best chance possible to win the cup. And even though it isn't very realistic, even though I know that it's not necessarily something that would happen, as we saw, they gave up, the New York Islanders did a great fight against the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first round series, but they're not a team that would fight for the cup. I just thought maybe if we add a little bit flavor to the team, a little bit extra power, guys like Pierre-Marc Bouchard there scoring a goal, that it could give us a little bit extra of a oomph in playing on superstar mode. You know, it makes it a lot harder when it comes to the playoffs. Any mode that you play on, it does get amped up for the playoffs. So doing that hopefully will help us out, make us strong enough to at least go deep, at least make the conference final. And that's our goal going into these final games for this season. But we still have about, I'd say, maybe 15 games or so. And the next episodes coming up, we'll have 2 games each, and I believe 3 games that will be simmed as well. So quite heavy in actual content there. And I'll keep that coming. I think we've got 3 more before we get to the playoffs. And when we get to the playoffs, those games will be all played rather than sims, because we want to make sure that we're actually playing the most important games of the season. And that's kind of the format that I'll go for in future GM modes, as well as the playoff games are the most important ones. So I think what we'll do is we'll probably do 2 games apiece for each series. And I think they'll kind of leave us around July, which will be the point that we'll take a bit of a break from NHL 13 and then get prepared and do lots of demo coverage, and obviously lots of coverage for NHL 14 when that comes around. But as this episode is closing up here, you can see that the game was nearly won by Washington there right at the end of the third. They're not going to get the win though at that point. We're going to go OT. We get the extra point. And OT's really been kind of a hodgepodge for us. So we've had some good OTs and some bad ones. This one is going to fall on the opposite side, as it was a bit of just a bit of everything actually. There wasn't too many chances early on the OT, but you can see they start putting it on here. They get a chance, another one there. Markstrom's able to cover. Here's the real big chance though, as Higgins tries to put it away, and it's one of those red line shots that goes straight through the net. Backstrom coming the other way here though, gets a shot off. Nice save by Markstrom, but the dagger in the heart is Ovi. Nice goal by him. Gets the OT winner for the Washington Capitals. And that's how this episode is going to end, guys. We get 1 win there and 1 loss in our played games, and we get a win and a loss in our sim games. Until episode 18 though, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you around.